To take a cement fix, be a standing cinema. Dress my friends up just for show, see them as they really are.
I'm joined this evening by the lovely Miss Dana Gillespie. And first of all, before we get cracking, I'd just like you to sort of set the scene. Where are we tonight and what's going on?
Oh, right. We're at the 606 Club, which is in Chelsea,
Yes.
Locks Road. It's about the only place I really play in London. I love this place. We do it about 4 times a year. And I'm with my blues band, who are called the London Blues Band. And, as far as I'm concerned, they're the hottest band that I know in Britain, actually mostly in Europe. And I work with a lot of bands, but they are particularly hot.
I look forward to seeing them. Now, we're going to talk, obviously we're talking in relation to David Bowie, because we're on the David Bowie website, and so we like to take it back in time a little bit, and if you kind of can recall how it came about that you first met. Was it on the folk circuit? Were you working?
I used to go to the Marquee Club all the time.
Yeah.
And I met him there one night. He was the support act, and I can't tell you what year it was, 60 something or other. 60, I think he was with the Manish
The
Boys.
Manish Boys?
Yeah, and afterwards, at the end of the gig, I mean, everyone knows the story, actually, if they're interested in Bowie things. I'm brushing my waist-length hair at the back of the Marquee. The show was over, and he comes up, takes the brush out of my hair, carries on brushing, and said, "Can I come home with you?" So I said yes, not realising, of course, that he lived in Bromley, so probably couldn't have got home to Bromley. My parents, the next morning, when they met him, thought he was a girl at first, because people didn't have that Veronica Lake hairdo like he had.
And was he in a kind of, I think you're describing me, was it a kind of like Robin Hood attire?
He was very much, he looked like he'd stepped straight out of Sherwood Forest.
Amazing.
But he used to walk me home from school occasionally, carry my ballet shoes. Basically, he always encouraged my songwriting. I used to go and hang with him down at Ready, Steady, Go.
Yeah.
Because they had a green room, and that's where you networked. And he was very good at networking, far better than me. But that's from going there with him is how I first got started, by appearing on Ready, Steady, Go, when it went Ready, Steady, Goes live. And we stayed good friends through all the years, even when we were just friends. And, I knew about his various other girlfriends, because when you're a teenager, you do not expect a guy you're going out with, or staying in with, actually, in our case. I wasn't looking to be Mrs. Jones in those days. We were just really good mates. And he always encouraged songwriting. He helped me even with the bass line of my second appearance on Ready, Steady, Go, because I didn't really know what a bass line was.
Yeah.
I was so young, and
of course.
Really, he was my only main first connection with the music business. And so we stayed friends through all these years. I remember one time he called me up and he said, "I've just written a song that I think you might like, and I'm coming round. I wrote it half an hour ago, and that was Space Oddity." And then through the years he kept saying, "We've got to get a manager, you've got to have a good manager." And then one time he called me up and he said, "I think I found the man who should be our manager." So we're in the noisiest place on the planet, because
That's all right.
the sound check starts imminently.
Well, it's a good place to talk about rock and roll.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
this is more blues and jazz.
Yes.
But anyway, and the manager turned out to be Tony DeFries, who absolutely changed both our lives. We both signed, gladly, all sorts of things away. But, when DeFries came along and said, "Let me take care of everything," he gave us all the musicians we wanted. He got the studios we wanted. We travelled everywhere. By this time, David was married to Angie, and she was fantastic, actually. She also was really supportive of him all through those years that they were happy together, until it all went pear-shaped. I never heard her say anything bad about him. She used to listen to all his songs, encourage him, buy his clothes, help with the designing of things. Even when the Spiders from Mars and everyone was sort of staying in Haddon Hall down in Bromley. I always say this is true, that Angie, if you gave Angie a carrot and a potato and an onion, she made food for everyone. You know, she's a classy, cultured woman, spoke French because she'd been to a French finishing school, or Swiss actually. So she was very helpful in pushing, promoting David, as was De Vries. And I find it very odd that in this last Bowie documentary called Finding Fame, Angie's mentioned about that much, and De Vries not at all.
Mm-hmm.
But without De Vries, David would never have had the money or the push in order to go to America.
And was it De Vries who put you together with Mick Ronson to do the Andy Warhol?
Well, David had written Andy Warhol for me, and to this day I have no idea why, because I find it a rather bizarre lyrics. Have no interest actually in Andy Warhol, the artist, but David was very taken with that, and we all had to rush off and see a Warhol performance called Pork that came to London in the very early 70s with people like Cherry Vanilla and Tony Zanette. All these people eventually worked for Main Man. De Vries sort of facilitated everyone to actually just get on and be creative. We didn't have to, everyone was getting paid a bit. We weren't getting a huge amount. He still had to pull off these big deals with RCA, and until that was done, really, David couldn't ride first class into America, but De Vries always said, if you want to crack it, you've got to travel through life first class. So he made sure that David was in the most expensive, most famous hotel, the Sherry Netherlands in America. We had 24/7 stretch limos. We moved in style. It was fantastic.
And this was all kind of to promote the image of being a big pop star when he went to America.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, the image was already kind of interesting. I mean, when I did my Weren't Born a Man album, I'm on the cover with the Andy Warhol song on it, wearing stockings and suspenders, a bit tame by today's standards, but then nobody had appeared in their underwear on a front album cover, and the cover itself, taken by Gerard Mankiewicz, was very famous, and Bowie had just appeared on the cover of his album in a dress. So Main Man was kind of edgy and unusual, and they were great times. We had a lot of laughs, and then De Vries made sure that David and Angie had a great house off the King's Road in Chelsea, in Oakley Street. So that was the centre of where lots of things were going on. I mean, De Vries really made life pretty marvellous for everyone for about 4 years, until the split started to happen.
Okay. And talking about the dress, there was his famous Mr. Fish dress and stuff like that. And you would have been around the time, I believe, when Trevor Bolder joined the band and stuff like that. And what did the new bandmates and also the audience make of Bowie's style?
I have no idea what they made of his style. All I do know is that Ronno, because I was very close with Ronno, because when it came to doing the Weren't Born a Man album, David was meant to produce it, but he got so busy that he couldn't produce it, he couldn't finish it, so Ronno took over. But so when the Spiders Trevor and Woody came in, I didn't have that much to do with them because I was in Jesus Christ Superstar, so I was doing Mary Magdalene, and so 6 nights of the week I couldn't come down to Haddon Hall, but I spent every Sunday there with them, and usually went home on a Monday or something. So it was a great centre for creativity.
Yeah. Was it the first run of Jesus Christ Superstar that you
Was
were?
it the first
The
one?
first run? The first performance?
Yes.
Oh,
It was the
amazing.
first time it ever went out as a live stage show.
Oh, okay.
They'd had it as, in fact, David and Angie came to see it, and they both left in the interval. I was mortified. Angie has since apologised. David obviously hated this kind of music, but I'd alerted all my friends, they're in the audience, all went to Pete, but it's not his kind of music. So I had to do it for a year because I had a year's contract. I had to honour my contract, and then when I left, I had to have a knee operation because my knee got damaged, and they'd all taken off for America, and then I joined them in America. We had a wild time.
Yeah, any particular memories of America that stand out for you?
Well, with David and Angie, and by this time the baby, who in those days was called Zoe, and the nanny, we all stayed at the Sherry Netherlands Hotel, which is a bit like, say, staying at Claridge's or the Dorchester. I mean, it was, David had a grand piano brought in, and people like Mick Jagger, and people would come over and sort of chill and have fun in the evenings. It was a great time, but he was much more sociable than me. He was a night person. I've always been a day person, so he'd be out in the nightclubs, and Angie and I would be out in the daytime shopping.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like the band's about to go into full sound check, so you probably better go and join them. I've got one last question. Mark might ask me to ask you this. He says, do you know that you are on Fletcher's Wall in Porridge?
I had heard, there's a picture of me, that picture was known as the Lioness. Angie organised it. Terry O'Neill took the picture. I'm bursting out of some mad gold corset thing. Angie used to dress me and David, because I personally, if I have my choice, I'm happy in a pair of jeans and a shirt. And Angie's was the same build as David, but I had seen it once. And thank you for reminding me. I saw it once, but I don't know which episode it was in.
No, I'm not sure. I think Mark does. He was keen to ask that. I think he's a big fan of Porridge.
Yeah.
Well, it's been lovely to join you. You better go and join your band.
I think we've got to go.
So on behalf of everybody and everyone at Cheap Things, thank you, Dana Gillespie.
Sorry about the noise.
Oh, we love it. There you go.